Yeah, what's up, y'all? So we got some of the latest news on the girl Shanquella. Y'all remember her? She went to Cabo with 6 of her friends, and she ended up dead within 24 hours. So we got some news on that broke, and we're gonna get right into it. All right, y'all.
I've got an update on the Shanquella Robinson case for you today. If you've been following this case with me since the beginning, then you know exactly why this episode matters. But if this is your first time hearing about it, let me bring you up to speed. Shanquella Robinson was a young woman from Charlotte, North Carolina, full of life, love, and ambition. In October 2022, she traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, with 6 people she considered friends, a group now infamously known as the Cabo Six. But within 24 hours of arriving, Shanquella was dead. At first, her so-called friends told her mother, Salamandra Robinson, that she had died from alcohol poisoning. But that was a lie. A blatant, cold-blooded lie. Because the autopsy from Mexico told a very different story. Shanquella had suffered a spinal cord injury and a broken neck. Not alcohol poisoning. Not an accident.
My only question is, why these people not in prison? Like 24 hours in the time from the time that you arrived and you end up dead, supposedly from alcohol poisoning? Never heard of. But let's get back to it.
But severe trauma. And then came the video. A horrifying, gut-wrenching video surfaced, allegedly showing Dejanay Jackson, who, by the way, has now changed her name to Amani Green, in what seems like an attempt to escape accountability. But a name change won't erase what we all saw, her viciously attacking Shanquella. Shanquella was naked, defenseless, and not fighting back. She wasn't even trying to resist. And yet, there was someone filming. The group was standing there, watching, egging it on, while she was being brutally beaten, not stepping in, not stopping it.
Now that's enough evidence for me. Authority should definitely arrest them all. Like, somebody should have been charged. Like, that blows my mind. Like, how could that happen? A video surface of them attacking her after they told her mom that she died from alcohol poisoning, which we know that wasn't the truth, because we have this video here of her attacking her and then somebody filming it, and these supposed to be her friends. Friends like that, you don't need enemies. But let's get back.
Just watching. This video changed everything. Because for the first time, the world saw undeniable proof that something horrific happened to Shanquella. This wasn't speculation. This was evidence. And yet, no arrests were made. Since that moment, Shanquella's family has been fighting. They have been demanding accountability, pushing through bureaucratic roadblocks, and refusing to let this case fade into silence. And we've been right there with them, seeking the truth, bringing the updates, and making sure this case does not disappear. In my last update, I told you about the civil lawsuit that was filed. Because despite everything, despite the video, the autopsy, and the blatant lies, no one has been held accountable. So now, the Robinson family is taking matters into their own hands with this lawsuit.
Released records from the FBI in the Shanquella Robinson case. She is the Charlotte woman who traveled to Mexico with friends in 2022 and then mysteriously died.
The group of friends became known as the Cabo Six. Tonight, while most of the documents are heavily redacted, we did find some new information.
New information in the Shanquella Robinson case as the FBI releases some of its files after a news media FOIA request. Robinson left her home in Charlotte to take a trip to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico with 5 friends in October 2022. She died on the trip. The FBI records reveal that on November 9th, a man showed up here to the FBI Charlotte field office to provide information about what he believed was Robinson's murder. Her friends have said Robinson died from alcohol poisoning after a night of heavy drinking, but the medical examiner in Cabo says she died from a broken neck. These new FBI records show that someone, their name has been redacted.
Come on, what else do we need? Like, it's crazy, but I never want to sound racist, but if that was Becky, if that was one of those girls that they post all over the popular magazines and the TV shows and everything, with a different skin color, like somebody be in jail. Now, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago that this woman was brutally beaten. Her friends lied and said that she died from alcohol poisoning, but autopsy showed she had a broken neck and other injuries. So where's the alcohol poisoning? Like, how somebody not in jail? Like, this is a travesty on an epic proportion. But I ain't going to keep, holding y'all up. Let's get back into it.
Also called the FBI Threat Center to provide information as well. They say there was an altercation and that Shanquella died, and they're not sure exactly what happened. Previously reported video shows Robinson being attacked on the trip. The person told the FBI that she hit her head on the toilet. This person said they believe there were 2 cameras in the Airbnb in Cabo and was trying to get the footage. They also said they saw pictures of Robinson's body and there are bruises on her and she looks like she was stomped on. These new case records also show the FBI was given Shanquella Robinson's black iPhone, completed a full system extraction, and attached relevant photos to their report. Those photos were redacted out of the documents the news media received.
Wow.
Robinson's family has filed a lawsuit against the Cabo Six and the federal government.
Right.
They say the feds didn't act fast enough in their investigation. The feds want the lawsuit thrown out, saying they don't have jurisdiction in Mexico. A judge has not made a decision about the lawsuit yet.
Wow.
Related, 2 of the Cabo Six are now actively fighting to have the civil lawsuit against them dismissed.
Wow.
Why? They say they want it moved to Mexico. Yeah, you heard that right, Mexico. The same country where an arrest warrant was reportedly issued for Dejanay, where their investigation initially ruled Shanquella's death as a homicide, where authorities have been accused of mishandling evidence. So why are 2 of the Cabo Six pushing to have this civil case tried in Mexico? It's a stall tactic. They know that moving the case to Mexico creates legal hurdles, complicates the process, and makes it harder for the Robinson family to fight back. This is deliberate legal maneuvering to avoid consequences. But this case is not going away so easily. Things are just heating up for the Robinsons. They are finally seeing something they had not seen in this case before. Responses from the very people who have managed to evade them since Shanquella's death. The lawsuit, filed by Shanquella's mother, Salamandra Robinson, seeks wrongful death and battery charges against Amani Green, formerly Dejanay Jackson, as well as negligence, conspiracy, and emotional distress charges against the entire Cabo Six. Let's talk about what's at stake here. The family is asking for $2 million for wrongful death, $2 million for battery, and $400,000 per defendant for negligence, conspiracy, and emotional distress. That's a lot of money. But let's be real. When it comes to the Cabo Six, the Robinson family knows they don't have it. Let it not be mistaken. This family wants the money. It is a form of justice for them. But they also know that the financial compensation will likely come from the agencies they have included in the lawsuit, the United States Department of State and the Federal Bureau of Investigations. These are institutions with resources, authority, and a duty to act, yet they failed Shanquella in critical ways. But when it comes to the Cabo Six, this lawsuit is about something much bigger than money. So, if it's not about the money, then what is this lawsuit really about? It's about accountability. They were denied accountability when the FBI refused to file charges. They were denied accountability when the U.S. and Mexican investigations contradicted each other. They were denied accountability when the Cabo Six fled Mexico and stayed silent. This lawsuit, it's a chess move. Because here's the thing. They can run from social media. They can hide from the press, but they cannot ignore a court order. A civil lawsuit forces them to respond. They will have to sit down.
And it shows some accountability. And it also shows that authority is showing some progress in this case, because right now, 3 years later, and nothing. This woman just died in the hands of these 6 individuals. And first they lied, and then you got autopsy reports saying that she didn't. Like, come on, y'all. Maddening, man. The more I listen to this, it just drives me bananas, because I'm just imagining that if it was one of my family members, if it was my sister or my cousin or my aunt, anybody, you know what I'm saying? And they just murdered this chick whoever did it, somebody did it in this group, and they videotaped it, and there's no accountability, no justice. Like, that's madness. And they changed their names. That's wild. Man, it's some crazy stuff that goes on in society that people get passes on. But this is one of the worst things I ever seen. But let's get back to the story, y'all.
Questions and produce evidence. And don't let one of them slip up and say the wrong thing during discovery, because everything they say will be used against them.
Facts.
Guaranteed. And let's not forget, criminal cases often come from civil ones. We've seen it time and time again. Someone thinks they're just testifying for a lawsuit, and before they know it, their own words have paved the way for criminal charges. This is why they are so desperate to have the case dismissed, because they know that if they have to answer questions under oath, the entire cover-up could start to unravel. And let's talk about the ever-changing lies. First, they said alcohol poisoning. Now, the FBI report states someone from the Cabo 6 told them she hit her head on a toilet. And in the same FBI report, someone who saw photos of her body said it looked like she had been stomped on. So which is it? Are we really supposed to ignore what we saw with our own eyes, a brutal attack, and instead believe the ever-changing stories of the people who left her for dead? It's gaslighting at its worst. But wait, look at who is pushing to have the case moved to Mexico. It's not Dejanay Jackson. It's Elise Hyatt and Winter Donovan. So now that this lawsuit is real, now that they are being compelled to respond, some of them seem to care less about what happens to Dejanay, who runs the risk of being arrested the moment she steps foot on Mexican soil. Remember that warrant? What does that tell you? It's becoming every man for himself. They were all thick as thieves when they were dodging the truth together, but now that the legal system is forcing them to answer for their actions, suddenly they're looking out for their own best interests. Is this the first sign of their so-called pact breaking?
Yep.
Because if they were truly standing together, wouldn't they be fighting this lawsuit as a group? But instead, they're splitting up, hiring different attorneys, and some are even trying to separate themselves from Dejanay altogether. Their interests are no longer aligned. And why is that? First, no one wants to go down with Dejanay. And second, they're realizing that sticking together could be their downfall. Their reputations, ability to get jobs, future career opportunities, and even their financial security are all at risk. No company wants to hire someone embroiled in a high-profile wrongful death lawsuit. No employer wants to deal with the media circus and scrutiny that comes with being linked to this case. So now, self-preservation has taken over. Their pact wasn't just emotional, it was strategic, and now it's falling apart. This right here, this is survival mode. And when people are in survival mode, the truth starts slipping out. Now, if the lies weren't bad enough, let's talk about what the autopsy reports actually revealed. Because we're not just working with one autopsy, we have two. The first autopsy, conducted in Mexico, stated atlas luxation, which means her top vertebra was dislocated, spinal cord injuries, that she died within 15 minutes of receiving those injuries. It was clear. Her death was violent.
Wow.
But then came the U.S. report. By the time Shinquella's body was returned to the U.S., a second autopsy was conducted. And suddenly, things changed. Atlas luxation was missing. Instead, they listed hypoxic ischemic brain injury and hemorrhages. And with that, the FBI concluded that her death was inconclusive. Now, let's pause for a second. With these injuries, the brain injuries and hemorrhages the FBI itself listed, combined with the brutal attack caught on video, their ever-changing alibis, their evasion, and their clear consciousness of guilt, shouldn't that be enough to at least let a jury decide? And yet, injuries, and a fight that occurred within 24 hours of her death, one we all witnessed with our own eyes, we're expected to believe that she simply hit her head on a toilet while intoxicated? Because let's be clear, hypoxic ischemic brain injury and hemorrhages don't just happen on their own. According to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, hypoxic ischemic brain injury occurs when the brain is deprived of oxygen due to severe trauma, cardiac arrest, or prolonged unconsciousness, all of which can result from a violent assault. Similarly, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, states that blunt force trauma is a leading cause of intracranial hemorrhages, often resulting from head injuries sustained during physical assaults or falls. But let's be clear, this wasn't just a fall, because when you add in the graphic video of her being brutally beaten, medical examiners stating that this type of assault could have caused her death, photos allegedly showing signs that she may have been stomped on, the Cabo Six's ever-changing stories, their middle-of-the-night escape from Mexico, their refusal to seek immediate medical attention, demanding that the medical doctor only provide fluids instead of transporting her to a hospital, thereby denying her appropriate emergency health care, and their total silence.
Wow, that's crazy. I've seen enough. I heard enough, man. They controlled that whole narrative. They evaded officials in Cabo. Like, wow. You know, I heard, crazy stories about when you go abroad or you go somewhere in a strange place. Don't get hurt. Don't get injured. You know what I mean? Because you're not in the United States. Like, you like a fish out of water. And clearly that's the case here, man. Clearly it's some dirty, demonic stuff that they was doing over there to that girl, and it ended up in her, murder. You know what I mean? Either she was, attacked by two, or just, viciously beaten by one. And that's clear to see, man. And it's just sad that it's taken this long for them to get some kind of justice. I mean, these people are not even in prison. They walking about and like nothing ever happened. But, I pray for the day when this case goes to court with just a civil suit, because it got to be some questions asked. And I'm going to keep y'all updated on it. Excuse me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this, and share this, let your friends see it, man, because there's some shady stuff going on and it's continuing. And, but what it seemed like to me is we're going to get to the bottom of it sooner rather than later. It's taken long enough, 3 years, for this family to get some justice, and may she rest in peace. It's your boy Philly Dark One. For more Hip Hop News TV, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to come back, because we're going to have more videos and we're going to give you updates on this. All right, peace. I'm out.